pretty quiet. Yeah. So this is gonna be, I think, the last doing my makeup from work for a couple of weeks. Don't worry, I'm not getting rid of it completely. But I'm gonna be out of town. But I am thinking that I will take my camera so that I can do my makeup at home, like home, like my birthplace home. So let me know if that sounds interesting, or if you're like, nah, girl, we don't care. Okay, let's state the obvious. I'm tired. I think my brain and body continue to work on like the semester kind of system. Since I worked at a university counseling center for like 10 years. And so I feel like I can work in like 3 to 4 month increments before I start like my battery starts running out. Like I feel like at some point I end up just being like and on like sleep mode. And so it's coming to about that time where I need a break, which I am taking. I'm taking next week. But I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing my makeup and chat with you a little bit. Okay. So I'm taking my Tarte Shape Tape Pore and Prime Balm. Dude. But yeah, I think I can do like 3 to 4 month increments without a break until I like need a break. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if anyone else is like that. So I've learned that over the years, so I try to schedule my like time off strategically, because also when you're in private practice, if you don't work, you don't get paid. So planning it out is also a good idea. But yeah, I'll be like heading home to see mi familia, which I'm excited about. So that is the eye prep, and here is my little kit pack with a couple of shades. It actually was different. There were a lot of greens and blues in here, but then I decided like what I was gonna wear, and I was like, that's gonna clash a little bit. Usually I don't care too much, but it felt like I was like, I've got a pattern on top, and then to come at you with like neon green just felt like a little much. Like, calm down. So I just picked some shades from Lethal Cosmetics. These are some of their singles. Actually, this whole palette is lethal. This whole palette is lethal. So these are some face powders here, and then here are the eyeshadows I plan to use. And I've got my Sonia G bag here. If you didn't hear, Sonia G is coming out with a fusion eye brush collection, I think next Tuesday. So that'll be exciting. I think I'll start with this shade here. So in general, being a psychologist is a little exhausting, but also specifically, I am a trauma therapist, which means that I focus a lot on working with clients who have experienced some sort of severe trauma. So, you know, oftentimes I have people who have post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. And even kind of whittling that down even more, I specialize in working with survivors of sexual assault and abuse. So I've heard everything. I've heard everything. I've worked with people from like, you know, the streets to people in super high positions of authority. Because trauma does not discriminate. And trauma therapists can burn out pretty quickly and easily, because it's just a matter of like, we're often hearing some of the most terrible things that makes you honestly lose faith in all humanity, and you're like holding that space for people and trying to make them feel safe, and also let them know like, I can handle you telling me whatever it is that you need to tell me. So I tell my clients, like, you can tell me as much detail as you want to or as little detail as you want to. It's up to you. It's your story, and you get to decide how you want to share that, who you want to share it with, if you feel safe enough to share it with me. And it's very rewarding work. Like, I really love seeing people kind of gain in confidence and gain in feeling safe within themselves and being okay with setting boundaries and, you know, challenging that self-blame and all that jazz. And it can get a little exhausting. Also, sometimes I leave work and I just want to like cuss a whole bunch of people out. Like, oh my gosh, because people are so mean. And like, yeah, you really do hear about just the depravity of some people. And I don't think people really understand the impact that trauma can have on you. Like, trauma literally changes how your brain operates. Changes, like, I won't go into all of that because I don't think you guys necessarily want to know. I'm going to go into this face powder here. It's actually designated as a blush named Coraline, which, does anyone else love that movie, Coraline? Have you seen it? When the mom is like, I'm your other mother. I like lose it. I love it. But I'm going to use that just as an eyeshadow because I like the tone. Anyway, so the way I got into psychology, I was one of those kids who went to college knowing what they wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to study psychology and be a psychologist. I wasn't quite sure what that meant just yet. But, you know, I went to a high school, the same high school as Meghan Markle and Tyra Banks, and I've mentioned that before. I'm just trying to let you know that I'm almost famous. Went there, and I was involved in, like, various student, like, leadership roles, and I was part of this little thing where you could, like, mentor younger students and blah, blah, blah. And I think I mentioned, so I would take the school bus, or not the school bus, the city bus, from South Central to Hollywood. And people would just sit down and start talking to me. And so I guess I sort of capitalized on that and started putting myself in situations where, like, I was actually inviting that and not just having random people sit next to me and tell me their entire life story when I didn't want to hear it. So when I went to college, I was like, I want to study psychology. And then when I got to like junior year, I was like, so what do you do with this degree? You can't do nothing with a bachelor's in psychology. So I, at the time, was a tour guide for the campus, which I mentioned, and I went to the admissions office counselors, and I was like, I don't know what happens next, but I'm gonna like graduate in a year, because I was also the first one in my family to go to university and then be graduating from university. So they were like, okay, just like contact this person. He's a psychologist. He'll be able to help you figure out next steps. So I send this email to this person. Turns out he's like one of the fathers of Black psychology. I had no idea. I was completely unawares. And I was like, hi, like, I'm a first-gen student, and I'm just like trying to figure out what to do with my life. Like, I want to be a psychologist, like, but like, what do I do with, you know, a bachelor's degree? And I don't know what I'm doing. And so he was like, okay, cool. Set up an appointment, come to my office, and we'll talk about it. Now, this person went to a school. He worked at a school that was like 15, 20 minutes away from my school. Like, it was a public university. And so I took like my entire family. Like, I took my mom, my dad, my sisters, my niece. I was like, we have a meeting. We have a meeting with this guy. I don't really know who he is, but I heard that he could like help me figure out what to do. So we went, and I still didn't really know how big of a deal he was, because I just didn't know the field. Like, now I know the field, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. I was like sitting down with a legend. So he really became my mentor, and he laid everything out for me. He was like, this is how you get to this. He helped me decide to go straight for the PhD. He helped me figure out where to apply and things like that. And he told me about the GRE, which you don't really need to take anymore for a lot of programs, and just all this stuff that just I had no idea. When I tell you, like, I'm a first generation student of Caribbean parents, so they didn't do their schooling here in the States. So just like the whole family really didn't know how this whole process worked. And also they're like, what's a psychologist? Now, there are many routes to becoming a therapist, right? But I wanted to be called doctor, so that meant I had to get a PhD. This is like all I knew. Because you can definitely become a therapist with a master's degree. There are a lot of people who are like marriage and family therapists, or just like master's level therapists. But I wanted to be called doctor. And I also wanted to have as much opportunity as possible. Like, with a PhD, I would have more of an option in terms of I could do research, I could be a university professor, I could have a private practice and all that stuff, right? And I wanted people to put some respect on my name, okay? Now I'm going to go in with this shade here. So, like, I applied for grad school, and I applied for PhD programs. I got into quite a few. Mind you, I was young. I was like 21. And I just still hadn't really understood the magnitude of like what I was doing. So I decided on a school because I had, like, when you get admitted to these programs, like, you go and they interview you, you meet the students, everything like that. And there was one program where I just felt really good there. And what I would do is, after every interview, I would journal my thoughts and feelings about the place. And so when it was time to like decide, because you know they want to know, when it was time to decide, I was like, okay, let me look back at my journal and see, you know, how I was feeling. And so that's how I picked the place. And the cool thing is, apparently I had impressed them. And the person who ended up becoming my advisor wasn't even taking students that year, but she was just like loving me. And she was like, I want her. And I'm like, yes, girl, take me. So, oh my God, my advisor, I didn't realize that some people don't get good advisors, like dissertation advisors and stuff like that, because I had such a good experience with my advisor, because some stuff had gone down up in my program, y'all. Oh, so I go to grad school, you know, as I'm leaving for the airport, leaving my family, going to the Midwest, to Missouri. That's when I had my breakdown. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I leaving? On the way to the airport. Anyway, get there. I go to grad school. Let me know if you want to know about grad school. And then you have to do a year-long clinical internship. And that's just a year where you are basically providing therapy. And you, like, this is after or kind of during when you're writing your dissertation and all that stuff. So I had already written the dissertation. I was already done. And again, I didn't know how big of a deal that was, like writing the dissertation and everything. I mean, I knew it was like a big deal, but I was like, what is this? What is this paper I have to write? And it's supposed to be like super long. Like, I was just super naive about a lot of things, but I actually think that naivete like helped in a lot of ways because I didn't make things like a huge deal because I didn't know they were a huge deal. I didn't even know that the faculty that I was working with or like my advisor, I didn't know how big of a deal these people were until I would go to like conferences and I'm like, oh yeah, such and such my advisor, or I'm doing research with that person, and people would be like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, are they like a big deal or something? And mind you, y'all, let me tell you how I showed up to Missouri. I remember I had on like a pink and white tube top with some pink and white capris and some long nails. They were like, girl, where are you from? And I'm like, LA. Anyway, so I got the clinical internship I wanted. It was, you know, my first choice, and I was like really happy to get it. And I go on an internship and they hire me right after, like right out of internship. I think I had like a week off. As I was an intern, I had a week off, and then I was a psychologist. And as I started, it was really weird because the people who were previously my supervisors and like signing off on my notes and stuff, like now they're my colleagues. And that was so weird, like making that transition. So initially, and I think I was 29, 28 or 29, so I'm still like young, y'all. Uh, but when I finished my internship year, and when I tell you walking across that stage and hearing them say Dr. So and so, y'all, it was like one of the highlights of my life because it felt like it was my whole family with me, you know? I mean, also that's a little problematic because we're like enmeshed. But it just felt like such a big accomplishment for all of us, not just for me. Anyway, because that wasn't an easy journey, let me tell you. So I really was trying to figure out, like, what's my thing? Like, what am I going to be known for? Like, what's going to be my specialty? I could not figure it out. And I felt like everyone around me had figured it out. Mind you, they had been working there for like years and years and years. And I'm literally just finished graduating from PhD school. So one thing we realized was that there weren't any services for like specific services for like women identified folks. There had been like a women's empowerment group, like therapy group, but there wasn't one anymore. And like I was becoming more aware of, you know, sexual violence on campuses and things like that. And I was like, well, you know what? Like, I think I want to focus my career on helping survivors. And so that's what I started doing. I started like getting extra training and different like conferences and reading a lot. And so I created this group, a therapy group for survivors. And then at some point I went on to create like all of the services that we would provide on that campus for survivors, and not all of them, but a good portion of them, and even like a clinical rotation for interns to do. Mind you, anyway, yeah. So I went ahead and did that, and it sort of started to become just my thing. Previously, I had done a lot of research around body image and eating disorders and things like that. So that was like my thing initially, especially because like folks in larger bodies and people of color are often left out of all of that stuff. There's a lot of stigma around like who has an eating disorder and who doesn't. Anyway, it's a whole long story. But there were already people like doing that, like the eating disorder work, and it didn't feel like there was much space for me in that. That's a whole other story. So I started to get really comfortable in this like space as a trauma expert, I guess you would say. And so I'm just going about my business doing that. And unbeknownst to me, one of my clinical supervisees, one of the interns, they had actually nominated me for an award based on that. You know I won. You know I won. Where's my primer? So let me tell you how that happened. So I just remember being at work. I'm gonna use the Fenty soft matte primer. I remember being at work and like I kept getting a message from someone and they were like, can you please call me back? And I don't, if you tell me that, I'm not gonna call you back. Like I need to know, is it the prologue? Like I need to know a little bit of information first, because I was like, it's gonna be a faculty member wanting me to like talk about the accommodations I recommended for a student, or it's gonna be a parent wanting to know about the kid. I was just like, I'm not calling you back. So finally, after like maybe the third or fourth message, I called the person back and they were like, we just wanted you to know that you've won this like Woman of Influence award. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like I was just tired. I was like, what? And the person tells me that my like intern and a colleague, they had gotten together and written this like amazing nomination letter, and I just start bawling because I still don't do this for recognition, like the therapy piece. Like I honestly feel like this is what I am meant to do with my life. Like whether you believe that is like some sort of divine godly thing, or like how the stars align or whatever, like this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. I'm supposed to help people in this way. So I didn't expect any like kudos for that, because honestly it's just like, you know, like I don't know. Do you understand? Like it's just what I do. So I felt so honored, and like I was just like sobbing to this intern that had nominated me, and my colleague who was my work husband when we were at the same place. Like, y'all, I have a work husband, I have a work wife. And I was just like so touched and so honored. And the whole like center came to the ceremony or whatever. I gave a speech, brought people to tears. This is why I need to win like an Emmy or a Tony or like an Oscar or something, so that I can give a speech and make people cry. The only like kind of janky part of it was afterwards, these two older white women came up to me and they're like, oh, you speak so well. Like, girl, how you thought I was gonna speak? You thought I was gonna come up here like rapping or something? I have a full-on PhD. Y'all, what's that supposed to mean, that I speak so well? Like, I remember, like, I speak the Queen's English. I guess it's the King's English now, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, so did that, and then, you know, I like technically retired from that job and went into private practice, and just have been, you know, I market myself as this is my expertise. And so I'll get a lot of those clients. Some are like college students, some are younger folks. I like praise y'all for y'all who work with like little kids and stuff. Girl, that's not my truth. I like 18 and up. I might like slide on down to like 16 if I really like you. 17, we pushing it. 18, okay, we good. And a lot of that is just because of like reporting laws, and I don't feel like dealing with your parents. Even though the adults be having their parents in their business too. But that means that is the majority of like the clinical work that I do. So I'm hearing these stories all day, every day. And there comes just like a point where I'm like, okay, I need to take a step back before I go out and start punching people in the nose. and like trying to find folks that do this kind of mess, and I need to take a break. And so I'm getting to that point, which I think was like the point of I was trying to explain. I'm getting to that point where I need to have a bit of a vacation. So it is coming at perfect timing. Okay, so that was the foundation. I'm going to go in with my concealer along with this Becca brightening thing, under eye brightening corrector, and I will be right back. Now that we got the serious stuff out of the way, let me know if you want to know more about the whole process of becoming a psychologist, because it's not just the ability to listen to people, or just because your friends come to you for advice. Like, therapy isn't actually advice. You can ask any of my clients. I mean, you can't because it's confidential. But when people are like, tell me what to do, I'm like, girl, I ain't telling you nothing. I'm not telling you what to do. You're not going to be up in here mad at me because I told you to do something. You did it and it backfired. Anyway, so this morning, my like morning laugh today has been because of this video I saw the other day. I'm taking the Fenty Beauty powder. Now, this video, I don't know how I ended up watching this video, and it was actually related to like a crime or something, but it was a video of them interrogating, or this like witness coming in to like talk to the police. I have to act this out for you because it gave me my entire life. I think this person uses they, them pronouns, or they, she pronouns. I'm not 100% sure because I don't know them and they didn't include this in the video, but I just saw some of the comments. But let me tell you how my friend, they're my friend now, came into the police station. So you see the video. Honey comes in and it's like, whew. And they're, the police are like, how are you? And they're like, fine now that I'm here and we could talk. And honey, they took their bag off and put it down, and they were like, so the other day I went up over to Today's Nails over on Hopkins to get my nails done. Lee, the nail technician's name is Lee. And then after that, I went over to Walmart because I was going to do my grocery shopping and my clothes shopping at the same time. But I had to also do some laundry. And I was thinking I'm going to go by my mama's house because the person, Sandra, like her ex did my mama's roof. Child, I'm already like, I'm here for it. Tell me the story. So this person is literally telling their entire life story. Just tell this story of like a reported crime. So they are like, so my friend Sandra, she called me. She's the one with the turquoise truck. And she was telling me to meet her somewhere, or like that she could come to my house. And I'm like, girl, nah, don't come to my house because I don't know what's going on. Because they had already thought that something was happening. And so they were like, meet me up over here in this parking lot. So then they called their friend Ann, because Ann was going to follow behind them, so that if Sandra was going to try something, you know, Ann was there with our friend. Child. And this person went on and told the whole story, and then was like, I told him I was going to go to the police because I'm not trying to get involved in nothing. And he was click-clacking because I'm not trying to get involved in nothing. I'm going to go to the police. And they were like click-clacking their nails all over the place. And the police were asking like, well, what does this person look like? And they were like, oh, she heavy set like me. She a heavy set girl. And the police were like, does she do sex work? And they were like, oh, she don't do that. Like she not about tricking. She not about that. She just keeps stuff between her and like her little relationship on the side. I was like, this is the friend we all need. This is the friend who knows all your business from down to like from the roots of your hair to like what underwear you wore that day. I need somebody, if something happened, I need somebody to go into a police station like this. I need you to be telling all the business. Don't leave nothing out, okay? Cause honey child, you just put all that person business out on the street. Her second relationship and stuff. And so they were like, so I just wanted to come and tell y'all. Y'all the first person I told. But then they were like, right after I had gone by like Kanisha's house and told her that I was going to the police, this is the first place I came. I was like, listen, if you're not a friend to me like that, I don't want your friendship. It was the best thing ever. And I don't know if this person knows how much life they gave me, because it was just, this was a person in their element. Like, they need to be a storyteller. And it was just amazing. It was hilarious. I was like cracking up. Okay, I think I'm gonna go into like all of these shades to come up with some sort of blush look. Oh my god, that was like the best thing ever. I got my entire life from this person. But honey, when I tell you that they really promoted Today Nails, I hope if people watch that, I hope they go to Today Nails and get their nails done wherever it's at. I think it's in Florida. Go to Today Nails, honey, and ask for Lee. Because the way those nails was click-clacking, Lee did a good job. All right, and I'm going to go into this shade here and use that as a bronzer. Shoot, I want to get my nails done by Lee. I would like bring the video and be like, Lee, I want this same style. That's my new friend. You could tell that person just loves the gossip. Just love it. Know all the people business at the church. I'm going to use the shade Ravenswood from Urban Decay down to like the bottom, and I'm going to top that off with my Christian Audet and Tara Lynn gloss in Ray. Just to give me like some glossiness on this gloomy day. I'm feeling very fall, like with the blouse. It's like giving you print, you know? And then I have on like, child, hold on, let me see if I can show you. Hold on. You see it? You see them? Like, these are cute, right? With the boots. Ooh, yeah. Honey, you know when you start to feel your body just ain't the same? Last week, I said something to one of my clients. I was like, well, he wasn't too hyped up to do that, or he wasn't mad enough not to do such and such. And they were like, that's exactly what my aunt said. And I was like, am I an auntie now? Like, not just I am an aunt to my niece, but you know that era of the auntie. Like, it's not, you not like mama, grandmama, and you not like sister friend, you auntie. And I was like, I'm an auntie now. And my client was like, I hate to break it to you. And I was like, that's okay. I'm gonna enjoy my auntie era. Oh, I love my clients. Y'all, what am I talking about? I'm about to go. This is cute. Let me see who of my colleagues is in the office, and then I'm gonna be back to back for most of the day. But at least you get a video, and we'll see. Yeah, the next like doing my makeup at work video probably won't be for like 3 weeks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Y'all supposed to tell me, go ahead and take your vacation, girl. And I'm going to have other videos up for you. Anyway, I'm babbling, so I'm going to stop. Hopefully some of this was helpful. Just a bunch of lethal cosmetics and my usual like Fenty foundation and such. And I feel like I look a bit more rested than we started out. I hope that you are taking care of yourself and drinking your water. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.